What's up, guys? It is Mark of CryptoQuest95. Today I'm joined with my good friend and co-patriot, Ryan Giffin. Ryan Giffin.
Thanks for having me.
He's a very good friend of mine.
Came up here to visit Mark, see what he's up to.
In today's video, we're going to be talking about getting scammed, about frauds in the world of cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. Have you seen this chart? This is the chart, the all-time chart of Bitcoin Cash. It looks like Bitcoin Cash is going to zero. Is that true? Or is this exact chart that people on Twitter will post all the time to show you why you should not get into Bitcoin Cash, is that chart itself a scam? The second thing we're going to be talking about today is how the Bitcoin white paper, which is unintentionally misleading, can be used as a weapon by dishonest people in Bitcoin to bully newbies and those beginners who do not understand Bitcoin into getting into Bitcoin when they have no idea what the chain is actually all about, and why we need to work together as Bitcoiners to change the Bitcoin white paper. Guys, we're gonna get right into it. All right, ready? Let's go.
Let's go.
And Ryan Giffin is a very talented entrepreneur. He's also very knowledgeable with Bitcoin Cash. He's been involved in the Bitcoin Cash community for...
I mean, I was there day one, but I became...
Really?
I mean, I was there during the fork.
Were you?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But I didn't become like an active. I was an outside Bitcoin interested guy. And in 2019, though, I made the decision to... I saw another bull market coming. It's like, I want to be a part of the conversation this time, and rather than just watching other people, I was like, can I? And also, it's hard to find people that are so passionate about it within your proximity.
Yeah.
So after I exhausted everyone around me, I found an online community.
Yeah.
And it was quite, welcomed with open arms. So that's pretty cool.
Well, Ryan and I have been friends for a while, and I've done some video content with Ryan in the past, where if you're on my YouTube channel right now, or if you're on my Twitter, you can go to my YouTube channel and you can see some videos in South Florida where we were onboarding various businesses.
Several businesses, yeah.
Yeah, to accept Bitcoin Cash, and I got to document that process, which was really quite exciting. But now we're in New Jersey. He's coming up to visit. We're walking around enjoying some iced coffee and hot coffee in 90-degree weather. He feels like it's cool here.
Yeah.
I don't think it's cool at all. This is uncomfortably hot.
Yeah, stay up here for the summer and come visit us in the winter. You'll enjoy it.
But Ryan really knows a lot about Bitcoin Cash in the sense, I mean, everyone can know it if they Google it online, but he knows it in terms of experience, because Ryan's business transacts, a portion of your business at least, with Bitcoin Cash.
Yep.
So he's pretty active in understanding how to deal with Bitcoin Cash in very formal, I guess you could say, business transactions, and I guess that would include accounting. And do you have any staff members that take a portion of salary in Bitcoin Cash? I mean, I guess you would. It's part of your salary, right?
Yeah. I mean, we share it amongst the shareholders. Right now, we primarily hold a lot of it, but when someone's willing to take it, we do pay in it.
Yeah.
But we like to receive it as well. Right now, as the ecos, most transactions are done in fiat currencies. But I would say less than 5% of our transactions are in Bitcoin Cash. But we're a pretty good-sized company where that's actually a pretty substantial number, actually.
So I guess the question I have is, why Bitcoin Cash? Like, couldn't you guys use Bitcoin to transact? Couldn't you guys use, I don't know, Shiba, or like why Bitcoin Cash? So sort of an underdog point.
Right, Bitcoin Cash. As I mentioned, I was there since day one. I was interested in Bitcoin too before. My interest really came around 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
I always had interest in Austrian economics, which we talked about, and this video's not about that. But why Bitcoin Cash? It's because it's what I was always interested in. It's to me the most efficient peer-to-peer electronic cash system, where right now with the newest upgrade this past year with the adjustable block size, we can easily grow this year to over 200 transactions per second at a very low fee. The fee to send Bitcoin Cash, I think, is roughly 1/20th of a US penny, and it uses zero conf transactions, so we have access to the funds even before the blocks clear, so you have instant settlement. or the block, when it really clears, that's when the block settles, but that's a whole other conversation too. And
There's so many other conversations.
yeah, but yeah, it's extremely scarce. The Bitcoin brand, I think, is extremely recognizable and very powerful, and the fact that that's what Bitcoin is in its white paper, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. I think Bitcoin Cash is a better representation of that. And Bitcoin has some downsides in terms of fees. I think fees were over $50 last week.
So if I wanted to send you, for example, like $1, it would cost me $50 to send.
Which makes no economic sense. And then furthermore, I've had credit card fraud in my business, and Bitcoin allows something called RBF, replaced by fee, where someone could actually buy something from us and then take those funds back and scam us and fraud us. So it's not really getting away from the legacy system. Bitcoin Cash has strong incentives that are superior to our current legacy system. That's why we prefer to transact in it, but the market's not there yet. But that's where, as the market wakes up over time, Bitcoin Cash is one of the best performing coins in the last year.
Is it?
In the top 5 in terms of
what do you
return.
mean? So 1 year ago, if you took $5 and you put it into Tesla stock, and then you took another 5 and put it in Bitcoin Cash, another 5 put it into Bitcoin, today,
Bitcoin Cash was the best investment.
that's in the year. But if you zoom all the way out and look at since the beginning of Bitcoin Cash, you would see that it looks like it's kind of going to zero. Okay. Now that's a criticism that I see people make who don't like Bitcoin Cash. And I don't find that a very compelling argument, but just devil's advocate, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, a lot. And I've actually, I don't want to show my channel too much, but I made a full video about it, but I'll summarize the key points. When Bitcoin Cash, as I said, I was there day one, it was very controversial if it was actually Bitcoin. And so the market was very excited about it and thinking we finally have the version of Bitcoin we always believed in. So the price quickly, challenged to reflect that, as well as the hash rate. You'll see that the hash rate almost flipped BTC. And if you read the white paper, the heaviest chain with the most proof of the highest hash is actually Bitcoin. So the market was very...
Hold on. I'm going to step in here for a second and disagree with you very heavily on something.
Nice.
Okay. So what the white paper says is that the heaviest chain is Bitcoin, right?
Currently, yes.
Okay. But the white paper also says that Bitcoin is peer-to-peer electronic cash that doesn't require multiple layers, that doesn't require, second layer settlement systems. So why the hell do people who like Bitcoin give a shit at all what the white paper says?
I would say some honest actors in BTC that have suggested changing the white paper.
Yeah,
so actually Cobra, who runs bitcoin.org, has actually suggested, hey, we should write a new white paper.
Yeah.
And I think that would be an honest thing to do, because if you read the white paper versus what you're investing in, there's no the compatibility is not there, like you mentioned.
I would say that, so you actually know me in person off camera. And on camera, I'm a little bit more animated and a little bit more aggressive with my views. But you know me in person.
Yeah.
And you know that I'm pretty plastic on my views, and my viewpoints change very easily. And oftentimes, especially like the conversation we had last night, which I won't get into.
Good conversation.
Yeah, it was good. But especially when we're talking about abortion, when we're talking about our stances on that.
Yeah.
Even my stance at that wasn't pro-abortion, anti-abortion. It was more just hey, can we have clarity in talking about it? That's
Absolutely.
what I don't like, is when people use euphemisms to discuss things, right? I'm cool if you're pro-abortion, I'm cool if you're anti-abortion, but let's not use newspeak. So I feel like my problem with Bitcoin isn't that Bitcoin has high fees. I don't care. I think it's great. See, if you want to have Bitcoin, dude. If you want to have BTC, if you want to invest in it, if you want to promote it, that's all. I have literally zero problem with that. My problem is that the white paper and the way people talk about Bitcoin, who are, let's say, Michael Saylor types, or who's that guy in El Salvador who's the fascist dude?
Bukele?
No. I mean, yeah, but no.
Okay.
He's the Bitcoin guy who says your mom all the time.
Okay.
You know who I'm talking about? Max.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh, Max Kaiser.
Oh,
God.
Anyway, the point is that my point and my problem, and the reason I'm so anti-BTC in my channel, is simply because by definition, they're scamming. They're saying this is Bitcoin, and then pointing people to read the white paper, which says, hey, this is not Bitcoin. That's my problem.
Yeah. But unfortunately, the market didn't decide that, and exchanges, value the exchanges that are trying to sell coins to people agree with that specific part of the white paper.
Yeah.
So you can make a great argument, and many industry leaders at the time actually, were probably still are, quietly empathetic to what happened with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And again, we could. If you want to know more, read Hijacking Bitcoin. You can learn all about how this whole thing got flown upside down. But actually,
but isn't that written by Roger Ver, the guy who made and invented Bitcoin
the
Cash?
Inventor of Bitcoin
and it was
Cash.
all of his programming. Actually, he was like anti-Bitcoin Cash when it first came out, right? Like he was on pro BTC side at the beginning in terms of like not breaking the chain and not breaking off.
Well, and that was going to be kind of my next point as to why the chart is what the chart is. Because
we reached the bridge. This is the point of no return. So we're going to return.
Cool. So the chart did believe that it had an honest shot to be Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And, Roger fought so hard to keep Bitcoin as a peer-to-peer electronic cash system.
Yeah.
Because the challenges of creating network effects and communities and wallets and businesses that are building on it.
Right.
So what's interesting, is that the market was probably naive to the fact of how challenging that would be under a new brand.
Yeah.
And so what's more interesting you should pay attention to is not the price that's going to zero, but actually the first 7 years of Bitcoin versus the first 7 years of Bitcoin Cash. The price performance to date is actually pretty identical. The first 7 years, Bitcoin BTC was right around the same $400 to $500 price point.
Yeah.
So it's taken that long to build the ecosystem to where it is, all the wallet infrastructure, the users and the branding. It's taken all this time and effort. So the market was naive to think that it could get all of that right away with having to create a new brand and be a minority chain. But that has all since changed, and in our 7th year in, now we're starting to see that real price appreciation and following a similar trajectory as Bitcoin was.
So here's why I think that the price chart, when you zoom all the way out, is intellectually just, again, my stance on Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash and all this stuff is just I'm against dishonesty, intellectual dishonesty. That's why I like that Lorenzo Ray guy, who I at first I did not like him when I found out that he was involved with the El Salvador government. But I've listened to his stance on things, actually, because of the Bitcoin Cash podcast, which I'll put a link below. They're fantastic. They do a really good job opening conversation, and Lorenzo Ray took the position of BTC. And I think his arguments are fantastic. And if you find them compelling, invest in the BTC chain, right? And he's very honest with things. My issue is with dishonesty. And when people say things, basically it's fraud. When they're saying, hey, buy this coin is this, but it's not that, that's fraud, that's scamming. So the point here that I'm making is when it comes to the chart and the Bitcoin Cash chart and why zooming all the way out is literal fraud if you're trying to convince people not to buy it because it's going to zero. Because when Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash broke off from each other, right? It separated. There was a price war of people trying to get their coin to overtake the other. So it was artificial. The market was played with. It wasn't natural. It was artificially boosting the price up. And keep in mind, and this is the most important point, the Bitcoin war was rough. People hated each other, right? People hated, the BTC people hated Bitcoin Cash and vice versa. So all of the people who were BTC maximalists, BTC people, who wanted to keep the chain frozen, basically, ossified. So you guys understand, when Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash split from each other, all the Bitcoins on the network got duplicated and became Bitcoin Cash. So if you had one Bitcoin, now you had one Bitcoin and one Bitcoin Cash. And if you hate Bitcoin Cash, what are you going to do at that moment?
Yeah.
You're going to sell it. You're going to dump it on the market. And because the Bitcoin Cash guys were trying to get the price high, they were paying huge amounts. That's why if you look at the chart, at a time, Bitcoin Cash was like $3,000 or more for one Bitcoin Cash.
Some exchanges at 7,000.
7,000. And Bitcoin Cash people were buying it at these crazy prices because they were hoping that they could get all the Bitcoin Cash that was being dumped on them. Anyway, the point is that all of that activity created the price of Bitcoin Cash to be temporarily higher, artificially higher than it is. than it should be.
Yeah.
So if you cut out Bitcoin Cash, if you cut out the chart from after that period where it actually settled, when all the BTC people dumped all their Bitcoin Cash onto the market and everything, all the dust settled, and you start from there and look at now, it's a totally different chart.
So Bitcoin Cash actually bottomed in that bear market, in its first bear market,
Yeah.
because it didn't really get that full bull market. It came out during a bull market
Right.
without the infrastructure. It fell all the way from 4,000 or maybe even 7,000 some
Right.
exchanges, all the way down to $60.
Right. So
That's the
I would
real
argue
bottom.
that $60 is like the actual price of Bitcoin Cash. So the problem is when they zoom all the way out and they show that beginning, it's intellectually dishonest. It's literally scam. It's fraud. It's them pretending that none of that stuff was relevant, which of course it is. And unfortunately, it's been a good tool. It was a very good tool, and still is a good tool, to get people to look away from Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin, by its nature, attracts scammers. And the reason is because it has no fundamental utility beyond price appreciation. It's only going to attract, not only, but it will greatly attract people who are exclusively and only interested in price appreciation.
Yeah.
And it will become much more attractive. Like if you're a scammer, like Max Kaiser, what chain are you gonna go to? Are you gonna go to Monero? Are you gonna go to Bitcoin Cash? Or are you gonna go to Bitcoin? Like if all you care about is scamming people and making money and sleeping with dictators, like of course you're gonna go to BTC.
Right.
So it's not that BTC is inherently bad, I would argue, but the structure of BTC is one where it attracts the maximum number of scammers. And therefore, you have resistance to changing the Bitcoin white paper because scammers use it as a tool to scam people into buying Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And even people who are honest in Bitcoin aren't in a rush to change the Bitcoin white paper because, yeah, sure, there's a few people that use it dishonestly, but at the end of the day, it's still helping them financially. There's
Right.
low economic incentive to change it, in my opinion.
Yeah. If the concept is it's the best coin because number go up, once that no longer works, there's no other fundamental utility to it. You know, it's a Ponzi. So once there's a better consistent number go up coin, speculators will then move there because that's the only concept that has behind it is number go up, and that's why the chain is purposely meant to not have users use it. So there's less selling pressure, and there's just people that are buying it and sitting on it. And even Max or Michael Saylor proposes, never selling it, die with your bitcoins, and like that's you eventually want to use money to better your life and use it as a utility.
Right,
So-
die with your Bitcoin is a euphemism for saying
Make me rich.
make other people rich.
Yeah, die for my wealth.
Right. Which, yeah, that's a whole other topic. But